This video is about how to become confident in high-stakes, high-pressure business environments. As an entrepreneur, you constantly need to push outside your comfort zone. A big part of success comes down to doing things others are too afraid to do. But all that pitching, putting yourself out there, and risking rejection can be pretty uncomfortable and pretty scary.
I think this is a liability nightmare, so I'm out.
So how do you deal with anxiety and self-consciousness in those high-stakes moments? When you're self-conscious, you focus on yourself and your feelings, your sensations, your thoughts. This creates a spiral of self-consciousness that can be very hard to escape from. People think self-consciousness is getting nervous when other people are looking at you or judging you. But it's really when you're looking at yourself. That's why it's called self-consciousness. Instead, highly successful and confident people focus on the external world around them and get out of their own heads. This is what it means to be truly present in the world around you. When you're genuinely engaged with your environment, your sense of self diminishes and you get less anxious. You feel less anxious and less self-conscious. Easier said than done though. How do you actually put this into practice? The single game-changing technique is to get highly attuned to the people you're communicating with in your high-stakes situation. You want to practice attentive listening from their point of view, while internally in your mind, you're putting them under a mental microscope. This shifts the locus of your attention outward, away from yourself, focusing on their nonverbal communication, their body language, their posture, their facial expressions. In other words, on the needs of your audience and how they're reacting, rather than how you look or sound. Practice first in one-on-one meetings and scale up to bigger and bigger groups. My record is a live audience of over 5,000 presenting in a stadium-sized business conference. And just like a one-on-one meeting, I picked out a few people in different parts of the crowd and looked at them and spoke to them and focused on them and what I could notice about them instead of thinking about myself. The antidote to self-consciousness is other consciousness. Humans are pretty bad at multitasking, to be honest. And if you're really thinking about who you're talking to and just kind of noticing everything about them, you don't have time to be self-conscious. By redirecting your attention and focusing on the external world, you can overcome self-consciousness in the moment and boost your confidence precisely in the situations where it's most needed. To be honest, that's pretty much the only quick fix out there because all other fixes take time. The reason that unstoppable, effortless confidence is such a rare and valuable personality trait is precisely because it's so much work to develop it as a trait. So if you're an entrepreneur, it's a totally worthwhile investment of your time and energy to build this trait up because so few people have it. Being able to pitch anyone and do things like present to large groups with zero notice, those are like success multipliers that you can stack on top of who you are and whatever it is you're building as a business owner. So if you want to play the long game of building out your confidence, do it. It's incremental, it takes time, but it compounds by getting easier and easier the more time and energy you put into it. So where do you get started? The science is pretty settled on dealing with fear from a psychological point of view. Exposure therapy is the big evidence-based lever for really changing this. Exposure to your fears builds the mental muscle of confidence. It's a very direct metaphor to weightlifting. You need to do socially scary stuff over and over and over and over. Just like a power lifter squatting hundreds of pounds, you want to train yourself so far beyond your normal daily requirements, for confidence in this case, that you're ready for anything. Any normal situation you might find yourself in, even for an entrepreneur, is kind of like helping your buddies move their couch when you're a power lifter. You've got excess strength. You've trained way beyond those requirements. Taking action here and doing the mental weightlifting is simple, but it's devastatingly difficult because here's what you've got to do. Sign up for Toastmasters. Take an improv class where you're forced to perform in front of the public.
Talk! Just talk! Shut up!
Or drop yourself into an open mic comedy workshop.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
If something inside of you just froze in panic at the thought of this idea, then you're almost already working the muscle. You've got access, you've got exposure going on. You need more of it. If you're serious about building confidence, if that's a trait that you want to embody and master, exposure is the way to do it, and it will completely transform your life. If you just want a quick hit to improve things right now, get out of your head and focus that locus of attention on the person you're talking to instead of yourself. That's confidence.